Good evening. Today is part 3 of the Science of Living series that we are going through. A small background of what we have been doing, a small summary. Science of Living is an article the mother has written on education. She wrote a series of 15 articles on education which came in the bulletin in 1950. And these are, in her words, these articles are without any philosophy for everybody, and bringing it down in the simplest of words. So, even on education, the first article she wrote was on how to live, the science of living, and that is what we have been discussing. We were discussing what aim should be like and what perfection is. So, the article nicely cycles around how we are supposed to live in order to get to the ultimate truth. So, first one is the aim, how an aim should be. The aim has to be high and generous, wide and disinterested. Then for us to achieve the aim, we have to have perfection, right? And last time we discussed all the steps that we have to go through in order to achieve that perfection. But for the perfection does not happen without discipline, and she gave the fourfold discipline. Today we will be looking at the topic of the fourfold discipline, that part of the article. Before we go into that part, I would like to ask you the question, because we are going through that interaction between us on each topic. Today I will go through the cover all the 4 disciplines, and after the discussion, after the question answers, if you can help me understand whether we would go into more practice based discussions, because here in the fourfold discipline it is not just what the fourfold discipline is, but methods and exercises in each aspect. So, that takes a lot of practice. We can decide a little later how, if we are interested, all of us can come together and dive deeper into each part. Before we go into the fourfold discipline, let us first connect back to the perfection part, right? How discipline is important for perfection. When we say perfection, it is again an umbrella term. What does mother mean when she said perfection? And remember, last time when we talked about perfection, she was saying that it is a labor of purification and unification. All the different parts of our being, which are all separate, working independently, each part of our being we are supposed to purify it and then unify all the movements around the psychic center. There we are, in a focused way, we are going towards the perfection in that way, right? Now, what she says is, as you pursue this labor of purification and unification, you must at the same time take great care to perfect the external and instrumental part of your being. We were discussing last time. We have 2 parts to us, the consciousness part and the instrument through which the consciousness acts. So, these 2 parts. Last time we talked about the consciousness, now it is the instrument that we will discuss. But the question is why, right? The how, once we understand the why, the how is very simple, and that is how she nicely wrote it, right? One, why should we even purify and unify? When the higher truth manifests, and that is our aim, right? In the whole path of integral yoga, we are looking at the higher truth manifesting in us. Now, the question is this: when the higher truth is manifesting, is the adhara ready to take the truth? So, she says the higher truth, when it manifests, it should find in you, it must find in you a mind that is supple and rich. What is suppleness? Suppleness is the mind should nicely bend and move easily, it should not be rigid, it should not be stiff. So, when the higher truth manifests, it has to find a supple and rich mind. Why? Because that higher truth seeks to express an idea, right? And the mind has to be rich and supple to give that idea a form and a thought, which it can be any form, it can be any thought, but very particularly a form and a thought which preserves the higher truth's force and clarity. Is our mind supple enough, or are we too rigid to even take it? So, the first thing is the mind should be supple and rich for the higher truth to, the form and the truth thought of our mind should preserve its force and clarity. Now, second, okay, done, the higher truth manifested, the thought has happened, the thought has form and clarity. But now this thought does not stay like that, it will clothe itself in words. So, does the mind have the sufficient power of expression? Why? So, the words that the mind uses should reveal the thought and not deform it. The higher truth, the thought, the words which are clothing the thought. Mind, the words should not deform the thought, in turn deform the higher truth. Now, the formula, the third part, the formula in which you embody the truth should be manifested in all your feelings, all your acts of will, all your actions, and in all movements of the being. And finally, these movements themselves attain their highest perfection. So, when we break down perfection, every time we say perfection, perfection, what is perfection? Means that higher truth toward two movements in all parts of our being. And how? By constant effort. She tells you this whole thing and simply ends with constant effort, that is it, you will attain perfection. But between that constant effort and the actual perfection for us to attain, there are so many paths. Thereby, that is where we come to, for this to happen, we need to have the fourfold discipline. Why should we have the fourfold discipline is for this, that each time when we talk, when we say, I have to do this perfectly, this talk I have to do it perfectly, when we are doing the flower arrangement it has to be perfect. Perfect is there, but perfection means what? There is so much behind it. Now, she gave us fourfold discipline. We will come to the actual body of today. Fourfold discipline: psychic discipline, mental discipline, vital discipline, physical discipline. Now, what she says is these do not exclude each other. So, we will say, okay, this month I am doing, I will practice psychic discipline, next month I will practice mental discipline, or I will start the reverse. First let me be physically fit, I will have physical discipline. No, they do not exclude each other. They can be followed at the same time, and indeed that is preferable. So, in bits and pieces, in different parts, like each time we talk to somebody, all four disciplines have to be followed, because each time we interact, maybe the vital is overpowering in that moment, maybe the physical is in control of our being at that point, it is playing the dominant role. Over time, as we practice and with constant effort, all the four parts, all the four disciplines have to be practiced simultaneously at the same time, but keeping in mind that these are four different parts, and then unify them, right. So, let us start with the psychic discipline. We will go very brief through each one. I would love for you to give me situations which, as an as we keep discussing, some experiences, some situations will pop in your mind. So, please feel free to share, you can interrupt anytime. The first one is the psychic discipline, the psychic being. What she says is, here again mind you, she is not using all the jargon of integral yoga, she is not using anything, she is simplifying it to an extent where anyone and everyone who is not even on this path should be able to understand. So, she says the psychic, the name psychic we will give to the psychological center of our being. Now, in the all practical purposes assign it that. Now, this is the seat within us of the highest truth. Which truth is this? Highest truth of our existence itself. Okay. Now, and this psychic center can know the truth. It is the seat of the truth and it can know it. Being the seat and knowing it are two very different things. I have the psychic being within me. Do I know it? Being, knowing. Look at simple distinction. And then she says not just that, this is the center and it can set in movement this knowledge of the existence of the truth. Everywhere she is talking about movement, it is not about being still, it is not about just I understand, okay, I will sit on it. No, the understanding, the knowledge has to become a movement within our being. So, constantly it is only the movement, but movement in different parts, movement in different ways. Therefore, what is our job now? We have to become conscious of the psychic's, the center's presence in us, to concentrate on this presence, not just become conscious of it, but concentrate on it until it becomes a living fact for us and we can identify ourselves with it. It is simply but how? There are many methods. She says there are many methods over time and over different timelines and different places. Many methods have evolved. Some are psychological methods, do not think like this, etc. Some are religious methods, some are more mechanical methods, right. But each one of us will, our being, our swabhavam, our tattvam, we align with a particular method, and she tells us to identify that one method that suits us the best. And one has, now here method is there, we have taken our method, there is no rigid rule that only method A, method B, method C, no, find your method which suits you the best. But if one has an ardent and steadfast aspiration, one is aspiration, two, a persistent and dynamic will, aspiration, will, only if we have these two, one is sure to meet in one way or the other, we will be sure to meet that psychic center. Done, we will meet, I have the aspiration, I have the will, but what should I do daily? There should be something, this is practical exercise. So, she said outwardly through reading and studying. All of us will read, take and read it, but studying is different. Studying goes through observation, reflection, and that study again, outwardly reading, studying, inwardly through, she said 4, concentration, meditation, revelation, experience. Adult mind, when we talk about teaching the adult mind or helping people change, we always say adults learn only through experience. Psychologically, when they talk of the 4 steps, 1, we will have to experience it, we will have to then understand the theory behind that experience, right. We have to reflect on it, experience it, reflect on it, understand the conceptual knowledge of it, and then redo the whole thing. This is an experiential cycle. I will do something, I will reflect on it, I will learn the concept behind it, then I will repeat the same experience, thereby that is how adults, all of us, this is just studied, but it is through observation, all of us learn things or change ourselves in the same way. She is just put exactly the same thing, you know, everything evolves out of her truth. Concentrate on one part, just sit and concentrate, then not just concentrate, meditate on it. Then revelation, I'll have to reveal to myself why I did what I did, what were all the variables that were influencing, etc. So, the actual truth of it should be, I should be open to reveal it to myself and then experience everything ourselves. Right? The discovery and realization should be the primary preoccupation of our being. Primary preoccupation, whatever we do, however small, however big, the primary preoccupation is discovery and realization, that is all in everything. Thereby, the will to find your truth and unite with it, it should always be living and present behind everything that we do. Pick up the pen and put it here. I want to find the truth and unite with it. Why did I pick it up? Why did I put it here? What was the intention behind it? What is the drive behind it? The whole part, right? And that is all that you think. Psychic exercises are only one. Simply experience consciously through understanding. That is the psychic discipline. Outwardly, studying, reading. Inwardly, concentrate, meditate, reveal and experience. It is all like those bullet points. Though it is written in theory, it is all like the SOP, standard operating procedure of life is this. In the psychic part, do this. So, now as we are living, automatically human beings are at this stage of evolution, we are all mental creatures, mental beings. So, the mental part now kicks in. I want to do something, I will think. I am not just experiencing it, but I am thinking about it. Thereby, the mental discipline comes in now. What is the mental discipline that we are talking about? Why should we have mental discipline? Primarily to develop the mind, as simple as that. Now, to complement this movement of inner discovery, it would be good, she is not saying it is a must, it would be good not to neglect the development of the mind. How often are we conscious of all our thoughts, where their thoughts have come from, why those thoughts are happening at this moment, not before, not after, and how they are influencing my action, etc., etc., right. So, she says here, I really love this line, for the mental instrument can equally be a great help or a great hindrance. Your own mind, which is so useful because we take pride in the fact that I think, so I am. And human nature tends to take this pride in, oh, I think so much, thereby I am better than everyone else. But the same thinking, being such a great help, can also be a very great hindrance, because the natural state of the mind is always one, limited in vision. What I see is what exists. What I do not see does not exist. I am limited by my vision, how much I can see. Narrow in understanding, even that limited vision, our understanding is narrow. Do we understand that limited vision at least completely? No, where our understanding is narrow. And rigid in conception. This is the way I look at it, this is the way I see it, this is the way I understand it, this is the way I act. So, we are rigid. As it is limited vision, on top of it narrow understanding, that understanding is again based on rigid conceptions. God help the mind, right. Now, what she says is we need constant effort. For what? One, we have to widen the mind, and two, make it more supple and profound, that it has to bend easily, it has to move easily, it can't be rigid, and our constant effort in the mental part is to widen it and make it more plastic, more supple. The brain has the capacity, research has shown that our neural network is very plastic. It can change, it can grow, it can expand, it can repair itself. Till now they thought if the neuron is damaged that it cannot be repaired, but no, it is not the case. Recent research shows even neurons can repair themselves, they are very plastic, and constantly we are forming new connections, we are forming new pathways. That means there is no age for learning, it is a constant process till we choose to leave, right. So, widen and make it more supple. Now, the question is how? It is very easy to say widen. Now, I am going out, I again same experience that sound, the traffic, or I go home, I am disappointed, or I tell my daughter, by the time I come back make sure you finish this, by the time I go, no, it is not done, immediately the whole reaction like happens. So, now that is the vital reaction. What is the mental reaction? She has gone quite deep. So, let us look at the mental exercises. 1. Exercise for suppleness. She gave 3 exercises, we will go very quickly on that and we will discuss it if time permits. So, 1 is exercise for suppleness, 2 exercise to educate the mind and establish control over feelings, and 3 exercise to progress consciousness. 3 exercises in the mental. Earlier exercises were, psychic exercises were, what were the psychic exercises? Outwardly reading and studying, inwardly 4 concentrate, meditate, revelation, reveal whatever is the, and then 3 experience. You have to experience, you can't let life go by, I will just sit and concentrate, sorry, experience life. In the mental part 3 exercise. 1, what is the exercise for suppleness, and this, trust me, I have been trying to do this for the last 3 years and it is still the most difficult. 1, she says, first take a situation, okay, I will not use my words, I will use her words, okay. Towards this end there is an exercise which gives great suppleness and elevation to the thought. It is as follows: a clearly formulated thesis, 1, okay, against it opposed its antithesis. So, take a thesis and take its exact opposite, an antithesis, formulated with the same precision. If I remember those debates we used to have in school, the for team and the against team. If I say I am for, no, we have to be very disciplined in our life, everything has to be clean and organized, right? Or now the opposite is, the truth will manifest even in chaos. The world is chaotic, the world is in chaos, right? We have to find truth in chaos. You can't just expect everything to be organized and only if it is organized we will find it. Now, these are two, organized versus chaos. As a person, I am maybe more leaning towards chaos because I am very, very lazy. So, my antithesis, the points for being organized will not be as strong as my leaning towards the thesis, right. If I believe something, I will be very diligent and comprehensive about it, but the opposite which I do not believe in, I should be in formulating that, the opposite also, the antithesis also, I should be as diligent and as comprehensive. There likes dislikes cannot come. So, take a thesis, take the opposed antithesis, now the fun starts, okay. Then by careful reflection, the problem, she is not talking of the thesis or the antithesis, the for or the against, she is talking of the problem for which we are giving this thesis, antithesis. The problem, widen it until the problem itself covers, transcends both the thesis and the antithesis. Widen it to such an extent that both of them become truth. It is not for or against, it is and. It is not or and. A and B, organized and chaotic. It is not either organized or chaotic. So, is she asking us, okay, now your idea for being organized, idea for being chaotic? No. What is the problem for which this is the answer? Now, widen that problem to such an extent that being organized is correct and being chaotic is also correct. Both of them are the solution together for that problem. Widen until a synthesis is found which unites the two contraries in a larger, higher and more comprehensive idea. So, nobody is right, nobody is wrong. There is no either or, there is both. Now, this is the first exercise, and student had asked, what did you mean by thesis, antithesis? So, she gave this statement, life is, if you come into life, everyone has to suffer. Thesis. What is the other side? Some men are above suffering. Some men are above suffering. So, this was the discussion. So, thesis is, if you are born, if you are going through life, there will be problems, there will be suffering. The antithesis is, some men are above suffering. Now, can you synthesize these two where both are right? Widen the problem enough to say both are right. Is it possible? I am going to that part, so I can read exactly. Give me a thesis. X gives, each one carries his cross in the world. Antithesis, there are men who are above all human affliction. And what is the synthesis? Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. What is the synthesis? Why? Because the names are not given, this is question answers. Why? There is one part of the being in everyone which is above all affliction. So, one part is suffering, the other part is above affliction is one synthesis. Another student in the discussion, there are different types of people in the world. Some are suffering, some are above suffering. Is that a synthesis? The cross or the suffering is necessary to leap beyond suffering. The burden of the suffering is necessary to leap beyond. Then mother said, that is not synthesis. Then again another trial, okay. In my synthesis, I spoke of ordinary men. The person who first proposed the thesis, antithesis, he said, I spoke of ordinary men. In the antithesis, I speak of extraordinary men. So, it is synthesis. So, yes, but do you believe, mother is asking, do you believe that extraordinary men do not have their burden? Even higher beings have their burden to bear. So, look at the questions and answers and how now imagine this exercise, you are sitting with the mother and doing this, where she is like, okay, think, no, now think this way, no, think that way, right? And it is all, the synthesis, it is all a question of consciousness. I am going through suffering, but if I am in touch with my consciousness, the psychic being, I am suffering, but I am not conscious of it, I am above it. Sri Aurobindo, Nirodha was describing that in 12 years, right? The femur is broken, the extreme pain that he is going through, as you read, you feel that pain. But he is here is this person who is just, that contraption, they are pulling the broken femur and tying it, that extreme pain, and here is Sri Aurobindo happily, like not happily, I am sorry, but calmly lying there and asking, oh, is it done? At the end of it, is it done? Is the pain not there? But his consciousness is raised to such an extent that the pain is there, I am not conscious of it. I am going through the pain, the burden of the pain is there, but it is not a burden for me. It is like, go down, he writes somewhere, you enjoy the pain as well. That pain itself becomes a medium of raising your consciousness. So, look at, you have increased the idea to such an extent. She did not stay at burden and troubles. She said, now the problem itself, the question itself is widened to consciousness. Now, is that what can we do that when we are discussing problems? Shall we go out for dinner or shall we stay at home? We constantly keep fighting or small things like this, which vegetable to buy, etc. Can the problem be widened enough where your choice and my choice is taken care? Now, that is not just choices. She says sit down and do this exercise consciously. Take yes and the exact opposite the no, and now synthesize it, widen the problem. Exercise 1. I can go on like on this particular exercise for like, we can go on for days on this. Start experimenting, exchange notes on each of this, and we will start going. Exercise 2. Why is she giving the exercise 2? Is to educate the mind and establish control over feelings, not just that, feelings and their consequences. Each feeling has a consequence. I shout at somebody, I have to face that consequence. I get angry, I have to face the consequence. Right? I am peaceful and calm, I have to face I have to again go through the consequence of it. Every feeling has a consequence. And she just like lightly said that. We are not even like, we go through feelings, we start burst out, we shout, we get angry, but the consequences, no. I say sorry, you have to accept, that's all. I will not go through the consequences of it. Very simply say, feelings have consequences, period. But the exercise is not there, not for the awareness of that. Exercise is educate the mind that feelings have consequences and gain control over those feelings, thereby control over consequences. Now, what is the exercise? Simple, a phrase. Never allow your mind to judge things and people. Simple. One small statement. Don't judge things or people. Can we do that? From this moment till even just for half, it is 6:05 till 6:30 till the talk ends. Can we not judge? Human mind, she says, is not an instrument of knowledge. It is incapable of finding knowledge. What can it do? It is moved by knowledge. Right? Knowledge belongs to a domain much higher, knowledge belongs to a much higher domain than that of the human mind, far above the regions of pure ideas. In the explanation she gives, there are thoughts, we all have thoughts, right? Thoughts, and the domain above is the domain of pure ideas, and above the domain of pure ideas is the realm of knowledge. So, the knowledge will descend, move us, create that movement, affect us, change us, that is it. We cannot acquire, no, you can't possess knowledge. The knowledge will move, become action, become converted into action in us, that is all. We can hold that movement, we can't hold knowledge. What is it? So, the mind, how to not judge. She is not just simply talking about knowledge. She says the mind has to be silent and attentive to receive knowledge from above and manifest it. For it is an instrument of formation. What can the mind do? The mind can form, the mind can organize, the mind can act. That is all. You cannot just take the knowledge, keep it and sit. No, that knowledge will not stay in our minds. We all forget. Till it can impact movement, knowledge has, like, it does not do anything. So, she says, can you first stop that movement of judgment? How? By remaining silent. The moment you remain silent, the actual knowledge will descend. And now, why is she saying this? To control your feelings and control the consequences of feelings. That way we are educating the mind. The moment we judge, education stops. We are not curious to know further. We are not exploring further. We are not asking questions. We are not trying to know. Judgment stops all education. And simple steps, But are we even aware that we judge? Forget stopping judgment. Let's start with, let's first be aware, oh, I am judging. Can we still our mind enough, at least still our mind after the judgment to recognize that we have judged? The next step can be, oh, I will not judge. Oh, I am judging, let me stop. So, one, at least start with, after the judgment has happened, recognize that it has happened. Then with practice, constant effort, come while we are judging, oh, judgment is happening, stop. Further expertise will be, no, even before the judgment happens, there is no scope for it at all. So, that is exercise 2, right. Third exercise, at the mental level. As we are still in the mental, we are yet to go to the vital, which is the most most difficult. Exercise 3, to the progress of consciousness. One exercise to increase suppleness, one exercise to educate the mind and control the feeling. Third exercise is for the progress of consciousness. Okay. Now those two are like this, now this one. This we have to do consciously by ourselves, even if life does not, life anyway puts these situations in front of us, but we can choose to do it as well. There is another practice which can be very helpful to the progress of the consciousness. Whenever there is a disagreement on any matter which is constantly happening, yes, we are always in disagreement with something or the other, such as a decision to be taken or an action to be carried out. Step 1, when there is a disagreement, step 1, one must make an effort to understand the other's point of view. Do not be limited, mind is a rigid one, mind is rigid in conceptions. So, the first step she is breaking is, first understand the other person's point of view. Why do you want potato? It is not nutritious, no, I am trying to cook a carrot. Right? Understand the other person's perception, conception or point of view, right. One must never remain closed in one's own conception or point of view. On the contrary, one must make an effort to understand others' point of view, put oneself in his place, not just understand, put yourself in his place. Instead of quarreling or even fighting, find the solution which can reasonably satisfy, now the synthesis is coming, which can reasonably satisfy both parties. I am not convincing you to come to my side, no, I will find a solution which will work for both, which will satisfy both the parties. Can we do that? And this is the simplest of all, the easiest, at least intellectually easiest part, but practically the most difficult to do, right. Understand the other point of view, put yourself in their place, instead of quarreling or even fighting, find a solution which can reasonably satisfy both. There is always such a solution for whom? For men of good will. If I have a good will, I can synthesize both and arrive at a solution which will satisfy both. But if my goodwill itself is missing, and we are not talking of that, at least in our path, the basic thing is, default mode is goodwill, right. Here we have arrived here, so automatically what is happening? Psychic is there, mental is there. The moment there is a disagreement, who is coming in? Vital is coming in, right. Here we must mention the discipline of the vital. Let us first, even before we discipline the vital, she explains the vital very well, okay, in very, very simple terms. The vital being in us is the seat of all impulses and desires. Seat of all impulses and desires. One, not just that, the vital being is very, very capable. Seat of all impulses and desires. It is a seat of enthusiasm and violence. The moment we are passionate about something, we are violent about it. We can't be very soft about our passion, we are violent about our passion, right. One, seat of impulses and desires, of enthusiasm and violence. It is the seat of dynamic energy and desperate depression. It is desperate for depression, right? And last, it is the seat of all passions and revolts. I am passionate about something, I will revolt against everything to do what I am passionate about. So, the vital is impulses and desires, enthusiasm and violence, dynamic energy, and I mean dynamic energy is fine. Look at the depression, depression is desperate. Once it catches hold, it will not, it is like desperately trying to catch hold of us, the depression part, pulling us down. Passion and revolt, look at all the opposites that are existing within the vital being. It is passionate but desperate for depression, right. So, thus, like it can set, this one is very nice, it can set everything in motion, it can build and realize, but it can also destroy and mar everything. We are at this level of evolution, so we are mental creatures, and when the supramental, the super mind comes in, that is a vital being full of intuition, but not this vital, this is the lower vital, right. Now, she says thus it may be, look at how she is using, it may be the most difficult part to discipline the human. We can try, because we are mental creatures, our mental dominates. So, the moment there is a logic in all the 3 mental exercises, the logic overrides, at least we can try. But as the logic is coming in, the vital will stand up and say, no, I am hurt, I do not agree, I do not like it, I do not want to do it. So, the most difficult part of it will start, either it will revolt or it will go into desperate depression, or it will be enthusiastic in a very violent way, and there the moment the vital being comes in, poor logic goes out of the window, it is gone, it is destroyed. The moment we are angry, nobody can, like anyone talks of the consequences of that anger, will we listen? The most difficult part to discipline. It is a long and exacting labor requiring great patience and perfect sincerity. For without sincerity, you will deceive yourself from the very outset, and all endeavor of progress will be in vain. Remember the first last session we said, human beings, the mental nature of the human being is that we will justify everything. We will say everything is right. What I have, the biggest mistake, I will go and justify it, I will defend it. And combine it with this, the vital fact that without sincerity you will deceive yourself from the very outset. I am right, and there is always justification, and all endeavor for progress will be in absolute vain. With the collaboration of the vital, no realization seems impossible, no transformation impractical. That is the power, the energy of the vital. Any transformation is like, it is quite practical, right. The vital is a good worker, but most often it seeks its own satisfaction. The work that the vital, the moment you have the drive for it, you see people have the drive and they go and they achieve anything and everything, and the whole world is run by these passionate people, the discoveries or the developments, everything. Now imagine those passionate people, the drive and that emotion is not there, all this transformation could have been possible, and now we are like enjoying how transformed the Bhavan is, but that required that vital energy of going out, and nothing is impossible, no, all funds will be ready, everything will be done, the drive, the force. But most often it seeks its own satisfaction. Now comes the interesting part. If that satisfaction is refused, what will happen? The vital is seeking satisfaction. If that satisfaction is refused, if it is depressed, that is desperate depression, that is very difficult. Now look at the other way. depression is one, but how does it look like? I mean, why depression is like a very mild word, the words mother uses, they are very nice. If that is refused totally or even partially, not even totally, partially, not now, like after 1 hour, not today, tomorrow, okay, partially, the vital gets vexed, it sulks, goes on a strike. Okay. So just imagine the vital inside you. This is what is always happens, right? Forget everything. Don't go to the bhavan now, go tomorrow. Today there is work at home. No. I find peace in the bhavan. I have to go to the bhavan. I can't have that peace at home. And at home we are like vexed and sulking and go on a strike. Its energy disappears more or less completely. All that force is gone completely. In its place leaves disgust for people. Everyone is like this. These people won't let me live in peace. They can't, they don't understand what, no, I am looking for such consciousness, I am trying to progress, I am trying to do something. These people don't understand it. Leaves disgust for people and things. All material people. How stupid, how small. Look at me, whereas here the vital itself is sulking. Discouragement or revolt, depression and dissatisfaction. At such moment, what do we do usually when we are in that fold, in that whole sway of the sulking, vexed, irritated vital? We start lashing out at people, we start shouting at people, we start like the whole, that's why the word, the violence of it, the passion of it comes out, and then consequences for that, whether we are aware or not. Now what does mother say? At such a moment it is good to remain quiet and refuse to act, for these are the times when one does stupid things. Imagine mother sitting there and we are lashing out everyone. Obviously it is stupid for her only. For us it is the crisis mode, but for her it is, what stupid people these are, right? We can often do stupid things in a few moments. Now this is the seriousness. In just a few moments, one can destroy or spoil the progress that has been made during months of regular effort. All the mental exercises we would be doing diligently, all the exercises would be diligent. One sway of the, one strike of the vital, all that effort is gone in a few moments, done. These crises are shorter and less dangerous for those who have established contact with their psychic, which is sufficient to keep alive. That contact with the psychic, even in that crisis mode, it is sufficient to keep alive the flame of aspiration and consciousness of the ideal to be realized. I am on that way of realizing the ideal, I am lashing out here. If the consciousness, if the connect with the psychic is there at that moment, the psychic being will have to come forward and say, what are you doing, there is work to be done, why are you wasting all that effort? And then the silence will come in. They can, with the help of this consciousness, how do you deal with the vital? The conscious being has come forward, but the vital being is also dancing there, no, jumping up and down. What should be done? Deal with the vital as one deals with a rebellious child. What do you do with a rebellious child? You have patience and perseverance. You can't just say, hey, sit, stop, don't shout, don't get angry, you remain calm, the vital will not listen. You have to be very patient and you have to have a lot of perseverance continuously. What should you do? One, show the truth, show the vital, the truth and the light, whichever method that we use, endeavoring to convince it. Oh, please, don't shout, we put already so much effort. Why are you doing all this? Convince it. Awaken in it the goodwill which has been veiled for a time. We will anyway go. What if, mother is everywhere? You go and be peaceful in front of her. You think she is not here, she is not seeing all this. Some goodwill we awaken in some way or the other. But it is a rebellious child. We can't expect, I am in that vital power and vital that whole sway, and what is the first thing that comes to our mind? You come and comfort me. Whoever is we are angry with, all the people and the things and materials, you come and comfort me. You made me lose my temper, so you come and make me calm. You come and say sorry. You make me comfortable. You make me happy. Whereas the expectation should not be from others. Vital is a part of us. The other parts should be now taking care of the vital as a child. Wait, don't worry, everything will be okay. We'll be fine. Just sit quietly for some time. Then we'll, so that little goodwill. Right? By means of such patient intervention, each crisis can be turned into a new progress. Why? That mental exercise is there, the crisis is gone, the mental exercise is there. What are we doing? We are concentrating, we are meditating, the revelation has to happen, and then experience it. So, automatically what is happening? The vital is calming down, the mental is taking over. Now, this is, now we are turning this exercise itself into an experience for progress, and into, what have we done? Into one more step towards the goal. Instead of taking it as like, an undoing of months of effort, we are saying, acha, now we will use this for next step. When will that happen? When we can silence the vital, calm the vital. You can't do it forcefully. Vital itself is force. What more force will you use? The vital itself is force. The force has to be calmed, cajoled. All those Shanti stotrams we sing for the Mother Divine, all the Ugra Swarupam has to come down, right? That force cannot be, it has cajoled. It's okay, goodwill, right? Progress may be slow in this disciplining of vital, progress may be slow, relapses may be frequent, but if a courageous will is maintained, one is sure to triumph one day, and see all difficulties melt and vanish. When will they melt and vanish? Before the radiance of the truth consciousness, and that can happen only when we are in touch with the psychic being. The whole effort is that. The what is interesting part is the vital, right? And that's when the true vital will have to come forth, and the force of the vital will drive us towards our goal. Vital, the third part. First part psychic discipline, second part mental discipline, vital discipline, last part is physical discipline. Lastly, by means of a rational and discerning physical education, we must make our body strong and supple enough. Mind not strong and supple is not sufficient, body should also be strong and supple. I want to sit and meditate. Last month we went for that meditation camp, and it was nice, 3.5 days, from morning 7 o'clock to night 10 o'clock, only meditation, nothing else. Breaking for tea, coffee or lunch and dinner, just meditate. What is happening? After half an hour, the neck starts aching, the shoulders start paining, the back starts aching, right? I want to go and immerse myself in the truth consciousness, but the body is saying, hello, sit, you have made me weak throughout this, you take care of me, lie down, get up, walk, etc. So, the body should also be strong and supple enough to become a fit instrument in this material world for the truth force which wants to manifest through us. We want to transform, we want to do anything, but the body is still weak. Fit. Adhara should, mental adhara should be there, the vital adhara, the physical adhara should also be there. So, take care of your body, but the body must not rule, it must obey. It is an instrument, it should not rule, it should obey. By very nature, it is a docile and faithful servant, poor thing. Unfortunately, it rarely has the discernment it ought to have with regard to its masters. Who are the masters of the body? The mind and the vital. Body, poor thing, does not have that differentiating factor. When should I listen, when should I not listen? When should I obey, when should I not obey? Body does not have. It will follow the masters, the mind and the vital. The laddu is very nice, I will have to eat it. Right? I am not supposed to have coffee. The moment I go to a meeting and clients say, tea or coffee? Coffee. But I am not supposed to have coffee. The body knows it is not supposed to have, it will start reacting. But who is the master there? The vital. The body, will it say no? The mind with its dogmas, its rigid and arbitrary principles, the vital with its passions, its excesses and dissipations, soon destroy the natural balance of the body. And what they do? They create fatigue, they create exhaustion, they create disease. What happens? Time, okay. So, there is a tyranny of the mind and the vital on the body, on the physical, and the physical should break free of this tyranny. And once it is calm, quiet, strong and poised, usually when we do some work we get tired, right? But when we go and tap into the instinct and the natural consciousness of the physical being, it will find rest in action. What an antithesis, right? It will find rest in action when we are tapping into the physical being's consciousness. We are conscious of that part. And to recuperate, action itself is rest, and we have to recuperate through contact with the universal forces and energies. The energies that the body expends consciously and usefully, where will it take it from? From the universal forces itself it will take. Where whatever work we are doing, whatever energy we started the work with, if we are tapped into the consciousness of the physical, we end that work with greater energy, not with weakness, not with tiredness, not with exhaustion. That is what she wants us to do. In this sound and balanced life, a new harmony will manifest in the body, reflecting the harmony of the higher regions, which will give it perfect proportions and ideal beauty of form. This harmony will be progressive, for the truth of the being is never static. It is always again movement. Throughout the whole theme of the article, being static versus being in movement. And everything, whether it is the psychic or the mental or the vital or the physical, it is all movement, and we have to be conscious of that movement, we have to be aware of the movement, we have to be in control of those movements to progress to that perfection, and why that perfection? To manifest that truth in us. This adhara should become such a perfect one that we become the warriors of the truth. And when we reach, and this is what we end with, and this is where the cycle closes, when we reach this degree of perfection, fourfold discipline, why? To purify and unify all the different parts and achieve perfection in each part, and all the parts are unifying around the psychic. So, all of us now reach that consciousness, progress towards the consciousness. When we reach this degree of perfection, which is our goal, we shall perceive that the truth we seek is made up of four major aspects. Now, where you will now connect. What are the four major aspects of the truth we seek? Love, knowledge, power and beauty. The four powers of the mother. Right? And these four attributes of the truth will express themselves spontaneously in our being. How? Knowledge, the power, the psychic being will be the vehicle of true and pure love. Knowledge, love, knowledge, power and beauty. The psychic being will be the vehicle of true and pure love. The mind, psychic discipline, mental discipline, vital discipline and physical. So, what are they manifesting? The vehicles of, the mind will be the vehicle of infallible knowledge. The vital will manifest an invincible power and strength, and the body will be the expression of a perfect beauty and harmony. When all the four are manifesting, are vehicles at that level of true perfection, what is stopping the higher truth from manifesting in our being? And that is the science of living. And all these endeavors, the reason why we are living using that particular science is to go and manifest that truth in our being. The adhara becomes solid, the adhara becomes perfected, it widens and takes it in. So, this is the whole article of the science of living.